Okay, World War II, specifically the causes of World War II. The Treaty of Versailles. Several events led to the start of World War II, which took place from September 1939 to September 1945, about 6 years. Many believe the devastation and problems from World War I led to the outbreak of fighting in the Second World War. The Treaty of Versailles, which was signed to end World War I, had severe consequences for Germany and could possibly have been the major cause of World War II. When the Treaty of Versailles was signed, Germany had to accept full blame for causing World War I. In addition to assuming blame, Germany also lost land and had to pay reparations, which caused severe economic stress on the country. The German people were starving, German money was almost worthless, and the government was in chaos. And to the right we have a picture. It says many stood in food lines for hours. World Depression and Fascism. Germany was not the only country to struggle economically, though. Many countries throughout the world had economies that were struggling. This period of time before World War II was called the Great Depression. Many people were out of work and barely had enough income to survive. This caused governments to become unstable and allowed powerful leaders to take over. Some of these struggling countries were taken over by dictators who formed powerful fascist governments. Fascist governments believed in a strong central government and strict control. Fascist governments were highly militaristic. In 1922, in Italy, Benito Mussolini and the Fascist Party rose to power. In 1925, Mussolini made himself dictator of Italy and wanted to expand the Italian Empire. He looked for new land to conquer. In 1935, Mussolini was ready, and Italy invaded Ethiopia, a country in Africa. And to the left, you can see his picture. That's Benito Mussolini. Rise of Nazism. Fascism was also embraced in Germany by the National Socialist German Workers' Party, also known as the Nazis. Led by Adolf Hitler, the Nazi Party finally began to gain power in 1929. Germans were desperate for a leader who would improve the economy and restore their national pride. Many Germans were still bitter about the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler was charismatic and gave the German people hope. Hitler and the Nazis wanted a controlled, militaristic Germany, but they also wanted race purity of the German people. In 1933, Hitler was appointed Reich Chancellor by the German government. 1 month later, the German government building, the Reichstag, burned. Sorry, this is my way. To the ground. Hitler blamed the Communist Party of Germany, although many historians believe Hitler himself was responsible for the fire. And the Nazi Party took control of the government by passing an act that gave Hitler the power to pass any law without Reichstag approval. Hitler used this power to remove any political opponent and made himself the Führer, or supreme leader of Germany, in 1934. Germany was now under a dictatorship. Hitler began rebuilding the German military, a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Like Mussolini, Hitler wanted to expand the German Empire, which was another violation of the treaty. Having similar goals, Hitler allied with Mussolini in 1939 with the Pact of Steel. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria. The League of Nations, an organization of countries who worked together to maintain peace after the end of World War I, did nothing to stop Hitler, so he became bolder and annexed Czechoslovakia next. And if we go back and look at these pictures, this is a picture of the Reichstag building on fire, and here's a picture of Hitler and the Nazis coming to power. Appeasement. Many countries in Europe did not want another war. So when countries like Italy and Germany began invading other countries and building up their militaries, countries such as Great Britain and France hoped that peace would be kept through appeasement. They wanted to make Hitler happy instead of trying to stop him. Great Britain and France hoped that Hitler would be satisfied with taking over Austria and Czechoslovakia and not invade more countries. Unfortunately, Hitler saw this appeasement as a sign of weakness and grew bolder. He also had more time to strengthen his military, and he made plans to conquer all of Europe. So this was Germany in 1937, just right here, and this was 2 years later, 1939. Owned all of this. Japanese expansion. Europe was not the only continent to have leaders who practiced imperialism. In 1926, Emperor Hirohito inherited the throne in Japan. Because Japan is an island country, it does not have many natural resources. In order for Japan to become industrialized, it would need to claim land rich with natural resources. So in 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, a region in China, and threatened to conquer China as it claimed more Chinese land over the next several years and seized European colonies in the Pacific region. Even though Japan was under the rule of Emperor Hirohito, another man, military general Tojo Hideki, gained power too. Tojo pushed for the alliance with Germany. Here is Hideki, the prime minister, and here is Emperor Hirohito. Germany and USSR invade Poland. In late August of 1939, Hitler and Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, signed the German-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact. This worried France and Great Britain because it meant that if Germany invaded Poland, a country to which France and Great Britain promised military support, Hitler didn't have to worry about fighting a war on two fronts because the Soviet Union would assist Germany. The pact also included a secret agreement. Hitler and Stalin would split Poland amongst themselves. Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, and 2 days later, World War II had officially begun when France and Great Britain declared war on Germany. Okay. Here is a picture of Joseph Stalin, top left. Here is a graphic image of the map that shows the German-Soviet occupation of Poland. And here is a political cartoon. It says, "Don't slow up. They won't. Our work will win or lose this war." Okay, so that's Japan, Germany, and Italy.